Welcome to the special magistrate meeting of the City of New Smyrna Beach on Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. I have been putting that wrong on my papers for about 3 weeks now. If you are cold, hang in there. We have asked the AC be moved up, but it is slow, so cuddle up. We will go over procedures here to start, and then we will do swearing in and then get into the cases. So at the outset, I have reviewed the special magistrate minutes from November 24th, 2025 and have approved those. Typically, as we go through this course, most of this is old business, so you guys should be aware. We will call a case by the case number and the address. We will have a presentation by city staff. Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to that item may provide testimony if you've been sworn, which we will do in a moment. And then the magistrate will make a decision on each item, and we will go through that way. With that, we will have anyone who will be providing testimony today, including our city staff, stand. Raise your right hand, and our clerk will swear you in.
In the matters which you're about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The witnesses have been sworn in.
Thank you. All right, starting out, we do have one item that did not make the agenda that we just want to formalize, and so we will bring forward case number CCSM 0207-2025. That is 315 Rush Street.
Reference to 315 Rush Street, the case you just stated, it was by order to come back to you today. However, it, for some reason in error, has been dropped off the agenda. I'd like to go ahead and recommend that we continue it for 1 month to the February hearing.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, is anyone here from the public on that item? I do not believe so. All right, based on that recommendation and the agenda posting, we will continue 315 Rush Street to the February 25th, 2026 special magistrate. Evan, we can coordinate on an order of continuance for that item. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then our first old business item is CCSM 0025-2025. That is 595 Pecan Street. Or Pecan.
Well, we can call it either one, pecan or pecan. All right, the address is 595 Pecan Street, case number CCSM 0025-2025. This is the fifth hearing for this property. This property is Zone B3 Highway Service Business. Violation cited was 26-171, permits required. Pardon. Excuse me. And LDR 504.01, General Zoning Regulations B3. On August the 27th, 2025, the special magistrate found Michael Christopher Blaker and or entity in violation of section 26-171 and LDR 504.01 and gave until September the 19th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. If the special magistrate found that the violations were not corrected by that date, a fine of $50 per day for each violation shall be imposed for each day the violation exists. On September the 24th, 2025, the special magistrate continued the case until October 22nd, 2025 to allow for more compliance. On October the 22nd, 2025, the special magistrate imposed the fine to commence on November the 5th, 2025. On October the 31st, 2025, a site plan was submitted and it was in review with an estimated review completion date of 12/17/25. On November the 24th, 2025, the special magistrate continued the case until today, January 28, 2026. The order was posted on the property on December the 5th, 2025, was sent certified mail and has been returned. On January the 15th, 2026, a check of the permit system found that a site plan and permit application, BLDC 00398-2025, were in a resubmittal required status. It has since been a new site plan, is from what I understand from the Planning and Zoning Department. Another site plan revision has been submitted, but I'm not exactly sure. I do have a representative here who can give further information, as well as the property owner is here who wants to make testimony as well as what's going on. It's my recommendation to the special magistrate to impose a fine of $50 per day for each violation commencing on today, January the 28th, 2026, and continue until the property is brought into full compliance. Fine not to exceed the maximum amount of $10,000. Due to the fact of the amount of time and the amount of times that it's been here to a hearing and there's been many orders, if the magistrate does not want to go with our recommendation, we have two other recommendations to choose from. One would be to just fine a non-compliance with no fine. By there, we would then be able to close out this case and be able to bring a repeat violation as a repeat violation in the event that things continue to not be corrected. The other option would be to actually continue the case if you so desire. However, we do not recommend continuing the case for each additional month as it would continue to lag on. We would ask that there is a definitive timeline and date that is established, that no more consideration would be given to continuances. So that's where we stand with our recommendations.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and hear from the property owner, and then I may have follow-up questions for
Thank you.
city staff. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm the property owner, Michael Blicker. As of the last time we had our meeting, I have printed out notes here. The fire marshal has completed and approved the building, and Stephen Woodworth has approved the building as of 12/4 and 12/23/2025. I have that there. And then as of that last meeting, we had a bunch of questions that had to be answered through the engineer, Tom DeSimone. He has answered all those questions and has submitted those. And from what I can see in the computer so far, and I've printed this up for you, the next plan review with the city is not till 3/4/2026. Okay. And I did print everything that they asked for and everything we brought back.
Okay. Can you run through, it was noted that the site plan application, was one closed and reapplied for, or did you just resubmit under the same application?
We have a permit plan that's being paused because the site plan has to be reviewed because of the change from the original plan that was residential when this is a B3 property, so everything had to be changed due to that.
And that was the commercial site plan is what was submitted prior with the projected completion date of end of December?
Yeah.
And when did you receive comments?
The comments were right before our last meeting in November, and Tom was on vacation, so in December he finally finished most of it, and January is when he submitted, I think the date's on the top of where he's submitted everything to them.
Okay. Okay, so we did not start a new application, it's just the resubmittal timing for review. So that's undergoing the typical process. Okay. Do you have anything further to add on the review? You're just knocking off?
As soon as they ask for stuff, I try to get it back to them as fast as possible to keep things moving on. That way we can get this home and permitted and get it built.
Okay, perfect. For city staff, I don't have questions planning-wise. I think I understand where they are in the process. But overall, if this resubmittal resolved all comments and the city staff review is ongoing, then we'd find compliance at the end of that light, correct?
Again, on the code enforcement side, we're trapped by the undetermined of what would be acceptable through planning and zoning and that type of thing. Again, we're gonna request that planning and zoning come up here and explain to you the situation and status of the case, because unfortunately, again, we are now this is the 5th hearing, and it has gone out, so I don't want to try to even talk about something that I have no knowledge of.
Sure, great. Let's hear from planning and zoning.
Hello, Jake Baker, Planning Department. Yeah, we did receive an initial application, and we have a resubmittal from January 14th, 2026. I know you're allowed to have attached dwellings in this zoning district, so they come up with a plan to attach the house, and then they have a kind of a setup for a business, which is, attached like it would meet the requirements. I think we have 30 business days to review the site plans. And, it should be, like I said, I think March 4th. So they are working through it, but, for our own planning perspective, we don't have a ton of comments, but I can't speak for engineering or anything else, but, it's right there and they are working on it.
Can I ask a question? If this goes through the planning department and the engineering department and is compliant, then there is no more code enforcement that's needed, is that correct?
I mean, from our perspective, it would be an approved site plan, so I can't speak on the code side of things, but it would, once it's approved, it's approved. I can't answer the code side too much.
I guess what my question is, what's being proposed there is within zoning regulations and the site plan is appropriate?
Yes, you attach dwelling to a business, which is kind of what he proposes.
Okay, thank you.
And the two violations we have are zoning regulations and permits required, so the site plan would issue, this is my understanding. The permit that is currently in process but paused pending that site plan would then be released. They would have permits for their requirements and the case would be closed down.
Except for if you were to look at the original notice of violation, the LDR violation of general zoning regulations comes back to this property being vacant, and it has we'll call it a shed structure on it that was not approved, not permitted. We also have storage of a Connex box and other materials, which would be the violation that we're dealing with right now. If nothing changes, the violation is not necessarily the fact that he has a site plan or doesn't have a site plan. That is immaterial to the fact that the items that are on the property are in violation. So that's the whole reason for the notice of violation. So I'd like to refer you to look at the notice of violation and see what was listed as corrective action for that, because that is what we would utilize as corrective action. As an example, if he were to remove the shed and he were to remove the Connex box and the storage of vehicles and boats and et cetera, then we would not have the violation for the LDR.
But
Wait.
does the site plan include the shed and the Connex structure?
That I don't know.
If we can have Jake come back up.
Jake, if you could come back up real fast.
Where permits are required, removal is always one solution for compliance. I don't disagree.
Yeah, there's no, the Connex boxes are not allowed on the property.
Okay.
Okay, how
And-
about for the shed and?
Yeah, typically, you're not supposed to have a shed on a vacant lot, but I think it's been there from before. So it's kind of one of those things where he could build a shed if he had the site plan, but because it was already there beforehand, technically, you're not supposed to have a shed on an empty lot.
Okay, I guess my question is our issue with the fact that it's been termed vacant? Is that the issue? Because that's really just, I'm trying to think of the word, but that's just kind of like what it was. But once you build on it, that changes it. As long as it's within permitting and zoning regulations, then it sounds like he's within the code.
For the shed. I
For
hear
the
that
shed.
there's no path for the Connex. Is there?
Yeah, if, when you cleared everything, probably should have cleared everything on the lot and not started bringing things onto the lot, as in storing boats and everything else. But a shed on a lot with a business and a attached dwelling, a shed would be fine.
Okay. And would a permit be required for that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and is that contained within the site plan?
There is a shed drawn on the site plan.
Okay, great. So the only thing we're looking at is the Connex box is not permitted and probably cannot be permitted.
Well, frame building metal siding is what it says, but I'm taking it to be the shed.
Right, I got
So,
that. Okay, thank you.
Can we have the property owner come back up just for a follow-up question? As it relates to the Connex box, what's the plan there?
The Connex box is all my belongings. We lost our home, and this is the only property that we own at this time. The Connex box, as I talked to the city, would be approved to have on site once the permit went through. So if I wish I had printed that out, but it did say pending at one time on the permit. The building, that's the shed that's there, has been there since the 1900s. It's on the survey plan. I haven't done anything to it but paint it and make it look a little bit better than what it is. It has the original roof that was on it when I got the property. I don't know what else.
Real quick, there are two structures. One is a portable shed that was brought in.
Yeah, it's a Connex. Yeah, the
Well,
Connex box.
There's
Yep.
actually, there's a Connex box. We have pictures, I believe. We have pictures we can cycle through. You'll see a Connex box, you'll see a structured shed, and you'll also see a structure that is a portable building.
There's a shed.
And that's the portable building to the left there. So we actually have 3 items on there that are fixtures.
Correct. Okay, and my understanding is that the site plan covers the two, I'm gonna say permanent structures. I will need clarification from the city on whether the Connex box can be permitted, because you just said that you have a permit pending, and I just heard that it's not permittable. So I would like clarification there between the parties.
you could have, basically, you can't have metal buildings visible from the street. Now, a lot of times people bring these things in and they put some clapboard siding on it to kind of make it look more attractive and meet our architectural design standards. So if it meets the building department's requirements for being strapped down and everything else, and they were to put a facade on it to make it look, to meet the architectural standards, it would pass muster, but it can't look like a Connex box on the property.
Okay,
So,
that is good insight. And the note that the permit review is pending the site plan, the Connex box is not illustrated on the site plan, so is there a reason that permit review cannot proceed while the site plan is reviewed for the permanent structures? Just trying to find the path forward.
I fully understand. That's the reason why I'm trying to clarify it. And our recommendations are to try to resolve the situation instead of keeping it going.
Certainly. Okay. And while we wait to see if building is available, if the property owner will come forward, just one more time. The note that was just discussed, and I think this would come during permit review, so we may get some more insight. If there is screening required, are you aware of that? Are you looking at that?
What was it screening for?
For the Connex box, that it can't remain in its current state, visibility-wise. It'd have to be screened with siding or something like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's to the point where they won't let us keep it through the build out, we will get it moved.
Okay.
Yep.
I would say we could move to a different one, but I think they may all have questions, so
I understand that.
we'll give a moment.
I am here the entire time, so in the event that you need to move on and hold the decision on that, I understand, no problems at all.
Just give them just another second here, and if not, we'll jump to another case and then come back to
Sure.
this one out of order.
Hello. So Steve is unavailable to come over. I did speak with him for a moment. The Conex box can be there during construction,
Okay,
but it should not have been brought in until he was ready to use it for a construction project. We do not permit Conex boxes per the building code, so they're not allowed, they would not be permitted to be placed on a property permanently. So he will have to remove it once his project is over. But they're not allowed by our building code. Steve said that they don't allow them to bring them
Remain
in permanently. It's for construction purposes only.
okay, got it, perfect, thank you, that's good clarification and insight. And I think the property owner clarified he would like it through construction, that is the intent, which is in line, okay. Sure.
I just pulled this up. This is actually in January 29th is when I filled out for a temporary for that, and that's when I went and talked to them, and they said, once that goes through, if you want to take a look at this.
The site plan, I can't, for the record, I
Oh, sorry.
don't have a way to take a picture.
Yeah,
Put it in the document.
in January 29, I have actually applied for the temporary of that Conex container.
January 29th of last year?
And I have it right here in my
Of
phone.
last year? Okay. Thank you.
And all these, and when I said it didn't pass yet, was because the permit for the building wasn't passed. They only allowed on but
During construction?
during construction, but our process is we have nowhere else to put our stuff, so.
Okay, got it. All right, I have no further questions on this one. Do you have anything else to add before we?
Again, just to recap, either, basically a quick summary, either fine and impose a fine, and that way we can move on with this case, or fine a non-compliance without a fine, so that way we can then address it later as a repeat in the event there's a continued problem, or if it's going to be continued, recognize that continuance, I don't know if that's really viable for you or anyone else.
Sure, no, absolutely, and thank you for that insight. Almost as always, I'm going to closely, almost follow the recommendation, but tweak it a bit. So I think what we are going to do here is I agree that there is no point in a little bit of judicial babysitting of this item if it's in site plan review. We are going to find the property currently in violation of LDR 50401 general zoning regulations and section 26-171 permits required. We are going to fine a one-time fine of $50 for the Connex box being placed on the site prior to the site plan. We are not going to fine the remainder, although we will note that any repeat violation would be returned immediately. And I want to be clear that the repeat violation would include a lapse or withdrawal of the site plan application that is pending, a removal of permits, or leaving the permits ready to issue and not pulled. Any of those would result in the use coming back here for a finding of violation, and immediate finding under that repeat violation. And that is what we will order on this one. So we will work on a revised order, but that is that case. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And I'll leave those items with you at this time. I'll pick them up at the end of the hearing.
Perfect, thank you. One moment here. All right, our next item is CCSM 0908-2024. That is 512 Faulkner Street.
All right, CCSM 0809-2024 for 512 Faulkner Street. On October 22nd, 2025, the special magistrate found Kristen Duval and/or entity in violation of IPMC 304.7 roofs and drainage, and gave until November 14th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. Then on November 24th, 2025, after hearing the progress report, the special magistrate continued this case until the January 28th, 2026 hearing. If the special magistrate found that the violations were not corrected, a fine in the amount of $50 per day shall be imposed for each of the violations that exist. The fine amount shall not exceed $20,000. The special magistrate order was mailed, certified mail to the property owner, and was signed for and accepted on November 28, 2025. And the special magistrate order, a copy of, was posted on the property on November 26, 2025. On January 28, 2026, a follow-up inspection showed the demolition of the shed was done. A permit was completed on that, or no, a permit was issued on that. I think it was completed on December 9th, 2025. It is my recommendation the special magistrate impose the fine of $50 per day as of January 28th, 2026, and continue until the property is brought into full compliance. Fine amount not to exceed $20,000.
Thank you. With the remaining violation being the roof and drainage issue.
On the main house,
Yep.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Does the property owner here wish to provide an update or speak on the record?
As soon as the permit was accepted, we had the demo done. The shed is gone.
Perfect.
And I'm working with a couple of different people who are interested, but I don't know to what extent. The person I thought would be a sure sale fell through. So I'm hoping to move that as fast as I can.
Okay. And have you been in contact with any roof repair companies or anyone to take care of the roofing issue?
I have been, and I received an estimate,
Okay.
and it's a little more complicated than it would seem because structurally there needs to be a lot done.
Okay.
The estimate was very fair,
Mhm.
and if I were going to continue to live there, I'd have that done months ago. But I'm hoping to sell it and let someone else take that on.
Okay. So that is a decision to be made, but we're looking at compliance kind of as the site exists today. And so thank you for dealing with the shed issue. That's great that we had the permit and that removal. So we're just looking at the roof issue here remaining on how to move forward. So if you have anything else to add, otherwise I have no questions.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Based on that and kind of the overall status, the roofing issue has been going on for quite a while here. We are going to follow staff's recommendation as it relates to that roof. Find that the property is currently in violation of IPMC 304.7 roofs and drainage. The recommendation is the $50 per day for that section of violation until it comes into compliance, which would be a permit issued and the work completed for the roof. So that is what we're going to order. You will receive a copy of it, and if you move forward with the permit and review, or a new owner does, I would say coordinate closely with code enforcement staff on next steps.
Is that it?
Thank you.
And you look, what?
The next item, 300 Crawford Road, was withdrawn, and so the next case is CCSM 0591-2025. I believe the first one is Tiger Palm Way.
Yeah, I think I was a little confused last hearing. Yeah, so CCSM 0591-2025 is for Tiger Palm Way. On November 24th, 2025, the special magistrate found Venetian Bay 6 LLC and/or entity in violation of LDR 604.12B, signs prohibited, and gave until December 15th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. If the special magistrate finds that the violation was or were not corrected by this date, a fine of $250 per day for each section of the code that remains in violation shall be imposed. The special magistrate order was mailed certified mail to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on December 9th, 2025. And a copy was posted on the property on December 9th, 2025. I also emailed a copy of the order to a ton of people within NVR Inc. and the Natelli properties. On December 9th, 2025, an application for a permit was submitted and is going through review process at this time. The permit application includes all signs for Phase 6 of Venetian Palms and is in the review process at this time. Zoning has reviewed it and has made comments. The sign, there's been no change on any of the properties. The signs are all still up. And I've heard nothing from anybody on this one. And the fact still remains that in this particular case, I did a lot of research because during the last hearing, he stated that OSHA required these signs. OSHA requires signage to be visible to the public, but it does not state that they have to be in the right-of-way. So that's still a violation. It still exists. And our attorney told him that if he had any questions regarding the violations and what the interpretation was, that he should contact her. And as I know, the last time I talked to her, she said that she hadn't heard from anybody, so.
Do you know the date of the comments that were issued on the sign permit application?
Yes.
And just for the record, I have not spoken to them about this. I've received no email.
Okay.
The information so it was all, sign permit was all submitted together for one parcel, which was 110 Venetian Palms Way. The zoning comments were made January 20th.
Okay. And do we know that, do you have a copy of those comments by chance?
I do.
Can I see those? Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is the property owner here, and would you like to speak on this item? Come forward, state your name and association.
Good afternoon, David Boucher, Ryan Holmes representative. We had actually multiple fines. One of them was for the temporary parking lot. We did get the permit for that. It's been approved, and we were good. We did turn the permit in for the signs also on the property. We just last week got the resubmittal request back. I requested a meeting with Mindy and zoning so that we could go over it and make the corrections needed and return it.
Okay.
It was my understanding last meeting that we were here. That was the request, was for us to turn in the permits for both the parking lot and that.
Correct, to the extent required. Yep. Okay. So I see comments issued by 120. A follow-up meeting is great. Did the permit application include the signage located within the right-of-way?
It included all the signage that we originally had up. We took the signs down in the front scape, except for what we deemed as the flags and the one sign. We did leave the OSHA signs up. We have an agreement with OSHA. It's a national company, NVR, and it is part of our policy for every community that we do that we have those particular signs up for.
So the first one that I have is the site plan that was submitted with the
Application,
permit
sure.
application, and then these are just close-ups of the particular signs that are in question. This one includes more than what is up this time, but still.
Yeah, we'll make copies and it's your submittal package.
Yep.
Okay.
No, we're good. Yeah.
And then those are the signs that are out by State Road 44.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are the signs that are shown in the photo that's up on Tiger Palms. These are emails as well. Am I talking loud enough? Do you think it's big enough?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you
I'd
get
pop
close.
back over to the.
So I submitted a bunch of information to you. Some of it was the site plan that was submitted with the permit application, and then some close-ups showing where the signs are located. Another one is an actual picture of the signs that are on site still to this date. I also have emails from the building official and the deputy building official that shows that the OSHA signs do not have to be in the right-of-way. I also have like one of the notes on the permit from the zoning technician states the definition of flags, because they have labeled some of the signage that's up as a flag, and they are not considered a flag based on the definition in the LDR of flags.
Okay. And I see that comment where they're not cloth or plastic. That
Yep.
discussion. Okay. Okay. On the permit application and discussion, what I don't see included in here is notes on the right-of-way location, and I think that's a primary concern here. Are the signs currently located in public City of New Smyrna right-of-way?
Those signs are, I think some of the signs that I gave you a picture of show that they are still in the city's right-of-way. The only one that is not in the city, the only ones that are not in the city's right-of-way are there's 3 signs on one of the pictures that I gave to you.
Mm-hmm.
That one is out by 44 on the north side of the sidewalk.
Okay. I am seeing on the site plan that the signs located along State Road 44 are labeled as within a common area of the association.
Mm-hmm.
And these signs are, we did
Here,
request in
on
the
the
permit.
microphone, please.
We
Sorry.
did request in the permit the location that they're currently at.
Within the common area tract.
The common area there and the right-of-way for these 3 large signs with OSHA. That was the location that we requested where they're at now. for the permit.
And when you say within the right-of-way for the OSHA signs, you mean within the Venetian Palms Boulevard?
Correct.
And
It's
that,
on the street side of the sidewalk.
and Venetian Palms Boulevard is a city road, public?
I believe it's public, yes.
Okay. Okay, my understanding, based on the testimony here, although I don't see it in the comment, so that's why I just want to clarify, is that there's not a path to approve those signs in the right-of-way. And I know we lost Mr. Baker from planning, but I think that is what's
I have a
in the
copy of
code,
the-
the code provisions.
Code
Sure.
portion. Second page that's highlighted. On the second page, it's highlighted that signs cannot be in the public
It does, except as expressly permitted by the appropriate public body. So if they had a permit, that's my question. So is there a method for getting a permit for a sign in a right-of-way?
That's part of
That
the,
goes through
that's
the,
just part of the question we had, because it's our understanding, because it's OSHA and a federal government body, we thought we did. That's the question that I'd like to meet with them and talk about. And if we can't, we would ask, where can we put them so that we can comply? But
and why
it was
couldn't
my
we have done
understanding.
this back in October when I started asking questions about the signage and trying to get them to figure out what the ordinance says and meet and all that?
Sure. Sometimes the hearing's required to light a fire. I understand that, certainly. And I understand the sentiment. So,
I'm sure that there probably is a way to have it permitted. Whether it would be permitted would be another question. Your agreement between you and OSHA is not something we're a party to, and so it wouldn't change the city regulations. So you would have to provide that agreement to building or planning where you're getting the permit so that they could read through it, understand the parameters of which you've signed your agreement under, and how that relates to the city. So I think basically what is trying to be highlighted here is getting the permit first and then putting the product down second. So we could dot all these i's and cross all these t's then.
correct. Yeah, and that's pretty much where I am at, which is that I think we've acknowledged that you should have received a permit before signs went up. That is very clear. You are going through the permit process. It is to be determined on what signs will be required for removal during that process or what you will be allowed to keep. I don't know that I have enough information at this moment when the permit review is still underway to know what that final resolution is. So if either of you have anything further to add, please do, and otherwise I will think for a moment.
Good, thank you.
I spoke with the planning department this morning, and we were told that signs in the right-of-way have to get commission approval.
Like a license agreement?
Yeah, from my understanding, anything in the right-of-way, whether it be a sign or someone wanted to put pavers in the right-of-way or what have you, there's a license agreement process that they would have to go through with the city, and then that would have to go to city commission for approval, which would probably take another couple of months, to be honest with you, if it even moved that far up for that process.
Okay. Yep, and I think that is a standard process that I'm familiar with. Okay. What we are going to do on the site is identify the fact that the property remains fully in non-compliance. It is still in violation. We are going to defer implementation of a fine until the next magistrate meeting. So they will come back on February 25th, 2025 for an update on the permit scope and status discussions. At the time of that hearing, because they are currently in non-compliance, the fine could be retroactive to that original compliance date that they failed to meet. But I think we need to get an idea of what is actually permitted on this site and what is not signage-wise, and identify from the time that the applicant is aware of that information and the corrective action to get a full picture here. And so I'm not ready to do sign math just yet. But I will find that the property is currently in violation. It will come back on February 25th, 2025. Hopefully we have some insight there from permitting on what can be permitted and what may require a license agreement to get a full picture of an appropriate fine for this situation.
Do we need to go for the other? cases?
If they are all similar, which I think they are, I can open them all, incorporate that testimony, and do the same finding.
Okay.
Okay. And we will give everybody an option to speak again if you would like, but I think overall they're all being handled with the same set of facts. So that was for this first matter, and let me just make sure that we are tracking correctly. So the next matter would be CCSM 0587, 2025. That's 110 Venetian Palms Boulevard. Again, at the outset here, I will incorporate all of the testimony and evidence from the item preceding this. Anything to add on this one?
Yes. The permit for the parking lot was completed, so section 26-171A permit required is in compliance.
Perfect.
So there's only the other three violations, LDR violations on that one. I do want to make note of that.
Perfect. Okay. And so in the order I have before me, I just want to make sure I'm tracking correctly. There is a violation for 26-171 permits required. That would remain as it relates to the signs, just not for the parking lot?
Well, the sign, sign LDR has its own
Permitting
permit
provision,
required.
okay.
So the 604D covers permits for signs.
Okay, perfect.
Is that correct, Shay?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
So then what we will do on this case is find that the property is in compliance as it relates to the parking improvements that section 26-171A permits required. The property is still in violation of LDR 604.1.2, 604.12A, 604.12B, and 604.12D. This property, as well as the proceeding, will return back as it relates to the signs to the February 25th, 2026 magistrate hearing for determination of a fine which could be retroactive to that initial compliance date stated in the prior order.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next. Thank you. We do still have two more just for formalities, but if there are no different facts, I'll do the same thing. It's up to you. CCSM 0579 2025 is Venetian Palms Boulevard. Again, I will incorporate the testimony from the prior items. Do we have anything additional to add?
Nothing additional.
Great. For this, I will make the same finding. This is currently in violation of 604.12B and 604.12D. This will come back before us on February 25th, 2026 for determination of a fine, which could be retroactive to that original compliance date. And the next one is CCSM 0577 2025, the east side of State Road 44. Same owner. Again, I will incorporate the findings of the preceding three items. Anything additional to add?
Nothing additional.
Okay. For this, similar to the last handful, we will find that the property is currently in violation of 604.12D and 604.12B. It will return back to the magistrate on February 25th, 2026 for determination of a fine, which may be retroactive to that original compliance date.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings us to our last item. It's new business. It is CCSM 0504 2025 1720 Magnolia Street.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So this property at 1720 Magnolia Street, owner is Tara Rando. I spoke with her last Thursday and Friday to try to get her on course to bring her property into compliance. The first thing she asked me was to bring forward to you to see if you would continue it until the February 25th, 2026 hearing. Her business is a hair salon, and she felt she didn't have enough time to cancel her clients for today. So instead of going through the whole spiel, if you want to just continue it from up front, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And bring it back in February so she's here so she can go over some of the items that, if she's still in violation, I'm hoping she will not still be in violation, but I'm just asking on her behalf because she couldn't be here because she has clients. I was down there just before I showed up here. So they are working on compliance, but She just wanted a continuance.
And you're not opposed to the request?
Yes and no, but I'll go with it because like I told her, we're here for voluntary compliance, and if that's what she needs to do, then I would rather just wait, let her come in and state her side of it and just go from there.
Okay, noted. Well, based on that request and the potential agreement, we will continue this item to the February 25th, 2026 special magistrate meeting for determination of compliance. All right, thank you. All right, and that is our last item. The second new business item was withdrawn. Do we have any items from city staff to go over?
Nothing from the city attorney's office.
Nothing.
Good, thank you.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, everyone.
you.
We're adjourned.